put together this amazing event. We would also like to welcome our distinguished guests and speakers. Ms. Irena Zubčević, Chief Intergovernmental Policy and Review Branch, Office of Intergovernmental Support and Coordination for Sustainable Development, Department of Economic and Social Affairs, United Nations. Mr. Benedict Cruz, President, European Senate of Economy and Technology, and Director of the German chapter, EUTECH. Dr. Ilyas Lakvedas, Advisor for Digital Aspects of Green Transformation at DG Connect, European Commission. And Professor Dr. René Schmidt-Peter, Professor of Sustainable Management at the International University Munich, founder of Matrix Institute for Sustainable Business Transformations, Cologne. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us at this important event. At this point, I would like to invite Ms. Irena Zubčević to address the audience. Welcome, Irena.
Well, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. First of all, thank you very much to the EUTECH Chamber for the invitation and its great initiative for a Global SDG Award. I would also like to commend all the 170 shortlisted organizations that will get a chance to be awarded today for their focus on an integration of the UN Sustainable Development Goals into their strategy, organization, culture, and business operations. I will start just a moment to share, if you can, Katarina, give me the permission to share my screen. I see it now. No, it's still, okay, let me try. Yes, it looks I can. Okay, yes. All right. Can you see, do you see the slide?
No.
Yeah, okay, good. So I have the first slide is of the clock ticking because the time is running out, and you will see why as I go on with my intervention. But allow me, before I focus on how sustainability could be achieved, to say a few words on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals from a perspective of someone who supported the process of the conceptualization that started with the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in 2012 through intergovernmental negotiations that lasted until 2015, when the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development was adopted by all United Nations member states, and which also contains the 17 SDGs. The 2030 Agenda, including SDGs, is a groundbreaking document and truly transformative. It provides a common framework for the whole world to get onto the path to sustainable development. It reflects the realization of all countries and world leaders that challenges we are facing today are global and can be addressed only if we all work together. It is applicable to all countries, all societies, and all people. It touches all aspects of human life. SDGs represent the complexity of the entire human development, from poverty, hunger, education and health, access to water and energy, gender empowerment, inequalities, decent work, to how we produce and consume, peaceful societies, managing our land and marine resources, financing, technology, and capacity building. And above all, they show the race to the top. SDGs are not just lofty aspirational goals. They are concrete tools to achieve well-being and prosperity for all. Each goal has a set of related targets and indicators that can be applied to all countries, no matter their level of development. Many will say that 169 targets and 232 unique indicators are too many. But if you think that SDGs address all countries, all spheres of society, all people on this planet, then you will see that there are not too many. If all 17 SDGs are achieved, we will have societies that are more prosperous, equal and inclusive, and will preserve the planet for the future generations. And as the 2030 Agenda says, and I quote, "We can be the first generation to succeed in ending poverty, just as we may be the last to have a chance of saving the planet. The world will be a better place in 2030 if we succeed in our objectives." And we can only succeed, as the title of this event emphasizes, by driving impact, change, innovation, and transformation. And now I'm going to my next slide. You will see in this context that I'm sharing the two slides that show the Hagen-Wilhelm matrix of change that helps companies and businesses understand where they are in their sustainability. In the first slide, you will see that what Hagen and Wilhelm show as 5 phases, with the first 2 being fundamental, based on individual and what they call martyr effort, and on team's effort based on personal influence and random. Social environmental impact is still quite high and change incremental with more costs and no return on investment. It is only with the third and subsequent phases that they characterized as engagement and value creation that starts to make a difference. You will see that matrix and KPIs, key performance indicators, are created and that trade-offs need to be discussed. And that is where innovation and rule breaking occurs, as you need to look at all aspects and spillover effects. Cross-sectoral work comes into play and processes are put in place across the organization. And it is in the last phase, when you obtain full value creation, that social and environmental impacts are the highest and collaboration is required within the industry and stakeholders. Now, you will see my third and last slide, which you will see this broken down into more details. And I have only chosen two. As a Hagen-Wilhelm matrix has also data and processes under leadership skills and characteristics of the phases where they talk about human resources, accountability, and rules. Why I'm emphasizing these 2 in particular is that they show the best change in leadership and mindset that is required to reach sustainability as business model for everything that an organization does. It is part of strategy and business development, and everyone is accountable. Sustainability is no longer the responsibility of a small sustainability green team, but runs across the organization. But of course, some difficult questions would need to be asked and answered, because businesses run on profit. Okay, sorry, I got the message that I was muted. Okay, so I'm continuing. Hope you've heard what I said. So I'll just repeat the last part. But of course, some difficult questions will need to be asked and answered because businesses run on profit, and until sustainability becomes a business model, there won't be instant returns on investment. Sustainability is a long-term trajectory. For a company to pursue sustainability, the SDGs need to be part of its business model and aim towards sustainable solutions through strategic planning and innovation, and not as a public relations add-on. A company needs to use a sustainability lens for every aspect of its strategy, from appointing board members and senior executives to prioritizing and driving execution. A long-term systemic view incorporating environmental, social, and governance (ESG) issues is essential to establishing shareholder value, marketing products and services that inspire consumers to make sustainable choices, and to use the goals to guide regulatory policy, capital allocation, and leadership development, including women's empowerment at every level. Another important point is that it is not enough that a few larger companies are doing it. It is important that all companies, including micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, do it as well. Throughout MSMEs, sustainability professionals can then work with their peers in other companies to drive sustainability of markets and value chains. And this is more important than ever in today's world, where we are battling the simultaneous challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, poverty, climate change, biodiversity loss, and inequalities. We need to use this crisis as an opportunity not to go back to unsustainable ways of producing and consuming. For a company to remain competitive, even over the next 5 years, and that's why I say the clock is ticking, it needs to define policies and strategies that will put it on a sustainable path right now. COVID-19 has made us all aware that something was horribly wrong with the world pre-COVID. Successful businesses will be those that meet the needs of as many people as possible, utilize as few resources as possible, and engage in meaningful, ongoing dialogue with their stakeholders. Thus, companies need to create sustainable value chains, respect human rights, be transparent in their work, including paying taxes, and drive innovation and technologies that would benefit everyone. Only all of these multi-sector efforts can successfully drive sustainable economic growth, create more just and inclusive societies, and ensure environmental protection and stewardship of natural resources. But unfortunately, too many companies still are very fragmented in their sustainability efforts. Often, if you look at job descriptions of the roles that have sustainability in their title, they require communication and public relations skills. Sustainability teams are often relegated to the margins, preparing ad hoc initiatives, and are disconnected from the rest of the teams. If the companies are going to survive, the question is not if, but how to implement sustainability as part of their business model. Different industries will require different measures, but if the Hagen-Milham matrix of change is being actively pursued, both top-down and bottom-up, return on investment will be huge, especially if companies can jumpstart sustainability before they are forced by regulations or circumstances. There are a number of guidelines that can help companies in their sustainability path, such as the 10 principles of the United Nations Global Compact that include eliminating human rights and labor abuses and fight against corruption and bribery, as well as using a precautionary approach to environmental challenges and encourage the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. There are also UN guiding principles on business and human rights that require business enterprises to have policy commitments and due diligence processes and remediation and include human rights in their operational processes. OECD also has due diligence guidelines for multinationals that include governance, human rights, environmental stewardship, responsible production, responsible marketing, end-of-life strategies, disclosure, and engagement with stakeholders. These are just a few. A number of reporting initiatives also exist to drive accountability, such as Global Reporting Initiative, which is a reporting initiative of UN Global Compact with over 5,800 companies, with 508,000 companies. Another one is CDP Disclosure Insight Action, which holds the largest repository of greenhouse emissions, Dow Jones Sustainability Indexes, where countries are given sustainability scores and ranked against their peers, or Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, disclosing financially material aspects so that disclosure can drive business and investment decisions. The UN Sustainable Stock Exchange Initiative is another good initiative, which is using the convening power of stock exchange to move the sustainability agenda forward, especially with a focus on net zero economy. However, having said that, with all the support that exists, the most important is, as I have said at the beginning, changing mindsets and driving transformative change. As Einstein is being credited for the famous saying of the definition of his sanity, as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, we all need to be aware that only if we really do change, we won't achieve different results. And as you have focused this event around impact, transformative change is the biggest impact in my view. Thus, all of you who will be receiving this award for what you have done, you also need to continue doing it and act as leaders in your respective industries, showing that change is possible and also profitable, and the only way that companies can survive. As the world becomes more aware of the consequences of climate change, biodiversity loss, inequalities, exacerbated by emergencies such as this pandemic and many extreme weather events, it will look at companies who can provide solutions, and they will award them with their trust and loyalty. It is a matter of survival, but also good business acumen. It is not a question anymore of doing some nice green public relations that looks good and interspersing previously business plans with a few SDGs here and there. It won't pass muster anymore. The only way forward is a business model of sustainability that increases circularity, reduces gas house emissions, and drives just and equal societies where benefits are shared and natural resources sustainably managed. Working among sectors and within and outside industries with all stakeholders is the only way forward. Initiatives like this one that awards and recognizes those who are leaders in sustainability contribute to this change, and I congratulate and applaud your efforts and thank you once more for making me part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Luckweed, for this really important message. At this point, I'd like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Benedict Cruz. Welcome and feel free to address the audience.
Katharina, thank you very much. And dear ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome all of you to the Global SDG Awards 2021 of the European Technology Chamber. My name is Benedict Cruz and I'm chairman of the European Senate of Economy and Technology and member of the advisory board of the European Technology Chamber, the EUTECH, which is hosting this event. And as your host, I've got the honor to say a few words in the name of EUTECH and the European Senate at the beginning of this event. So what is the SDG Awards about? The aim is the same as for the EUTECH and the European Senate as an organization, making new contacts, get to know each other on a mutual platform based on a huge level of technology. And ladies and gentlemen, we will get to know with what great technology solutions we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals much easier. And that's the reason why we are allowed to experience this event in our new virtual tech forum. And it's our world, the EUTECH solution for matchmaking. In my opinion, every solution starts with a good match, and then comes the idea, and then maybe the success. And this success will probably solve a problem for hundreds, thousands, or even maybe millions of people around the globe that are not that privileged. And this is how it goes today. We have 170 finalists who got a chance to present their developments, their purpose, and for each of them, there are 5 minutes time to pitch. And at the end of each session, we will have 70 winners, one per SDG goal, 17 to sum it up. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the EUTECH Global SDG Awards is as simple as that today. And we are very happy to host this event because the aims are the same as for our EUTECH and EU Senate ecosystem. I mentioned that before, but some of you might ask, okay, now I understand what the agenda of today's event is about, but what is EUTECH? What is a Senate? So let me give a short deep dive to answer this question. The EUTECH Chamber was founded in 2015 with one vision: technology obliges. And still today, it is our motto and our purpose. And now, almost 7 years later, we are Europe's leading tech organization in this regard with nearly 2,000 members. We are a registered NGO and a non-profit organization, and we have 3 major goals. The first one is competitiveness, to strengthen European technologies, to promote European values. The second one is sustainability. That means reaching the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, around the globe through European technology. And this is exactly what it's all about today. And you see, this event is so important for our organization. And dear Katerina, thank you and your team so much for your hard work to make this happen today. We really appreciate that. And the third goal is growth, to have access opportunities in Europe and the emerging markets. And you see, we believe to reach each goal with technology. So for us, for our organization, technology is the key. So it is not a prohibition, not a restriction. It is a technology solution. And the question is always, how do we work? How do we achieve our goals? You see, we have 16 alliances. The China Alliance, Africa Alliance, German Alliance, that are our regional sections. And then we have alliances where we are working on our mission and theme as like horizontal sections, as overriding topics. One of them, by the way, is Ethics and SDG Alliance. And then we have alliance that are our verticals, where we discuss about opportunities with technology in much more detail. And this is the content we are working on every single day. And in addition to that, we have many services for our members, and the value proposition we serve is always free, transparent, and independent. And the aim of EUTECH Chamber is to match people with each other, to strengthen partnership all over the world, to find synergies, to combine technology solutions with each other, to make the world a little bit better, with the help of as many people as possible. And that is EUTECH. The European Senate is a highly regarded and much smaller organization. It is like an advisory board of our ecosystem. And the Senate was founded by EUTECH and by Senate of Economy in Austria. And this is an honorable council that advises the government since, I think, over 15 years now. And important is the fact that the EU Senate is not a lobby organization. Regarding to our statutes and principles, we are not allowed to do any lobbying. And all the suggestions and impulses, all the white papers for the industry, the policy papers for government agencies have to be in the interest of the common good. And this is our aim, to provide support in solving the most important questions of our future through sustainable technologies. And because we are living in active partnership with EUTECH, our motto from the European Senate is also technology obliges, but for us we say technology obliges for the common good. You know, I was board member of the Senate of Economy, and in 2019 we discussed with the chairman of EUTECH, with Mr. Florian von Tucher, how to jump into the next level of both organizations. You know, if you have country borders, it is much more easier to build up an executive network because you've got your mother language, your own government, your own country problems, your own economy, your own culture, and all this stuff. And if you want to raise your organization from the national to an international level, it is not enough to only, let's say, press copy and paste and you have a new international organization. You won't have, it's not that simple. And so we decided to have a kind of joint venture with the European Senate. We combine the international infrastructure with all the wonderful alliances, with the chapters, the commissions and councils, the content work, with those highly regarded C-level network of the European Senate. And they are personalities from all over the world, not only from Europe. CEOs and chairmen and chairwomen of big companies, scientists, diplomats, economists, and all of them have different points of views and maybe different ideas for solutions to the topic of the EUTECH sections we are working on. So also for new opportunities regarding the SDGs of the United Nations. So if you have an eagle point of view of our whole environment, our ecosystem, you have the European Technology Chamber, the EUTECH, with technology obliges, and as a second part, you have the EU Senate with its highly regarded network. But there's another third partner, so we have a triangle, a strategic partnership which allows us to roll out tech solutions to reach the SDGs much easier. We also work together in the so-called Mustard Seed initiative of the Vatican. And the Mustard Seed Foundation has set itself the goal of making available what we are bringing together in Europe already to developing countries, for example, and to those fellow human beings who almost have nothing. So we are also working for the greater good and have this kind of philanthropy point of view. And the cooperation between these three organizations, EUTECH, Senate, and Vatican, this is the strong link. And in its special collaboration, very unique in the whole world. And regarding our today's SDG awards, let's use this wonderful network. Let's get in contact. Strengthen Europe and the whole world. Let's combine technologies. Let's invest in our future. Just do it. So please use our network. Let's collaborate as much as possible. And let's take this wonderful event today as the beginning of many opportunities in our future. And I'm sure we will create a huge impact regarding sustainability and mankind, but only together. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of EUTECH Chamber and the Presidium of the European Senate, I want to thank all of you in advance for being our guests today, for being the finalists, for being one of the 170 wonderful companies who will pitch ideas that create wonderful impact. So thank you very much for listening to my words. I really appreciate this great event today, and I wish you all of you a great event. And Katerina, maybe that's one of the most important thing of all. Let's have some fun today. Thank you very much for listening. Katerina.
Thank you so much, Benedict. Thank you for introducing EUTECH and our important partners. Appreciate it. I also wish everybody a great event. And at this point, I'd like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Luckweed. I believe that he joined us as well at this point. Dr. Luckweed is welcome. Feel free to address the audience.
If you can hear me. Hello. I don't know if you can see me or hear me.
We can hear you. We're not going to be able to see you yet. I hope that the camera is going to show us soon, but we can hear you, Dr. Lakvedas.
Okay, now?
Not yet. I think.
Hello. So thank you for the invite. Hope everything is fine. I had to actually change location and network to be able to join. So it's a pleasure to be here. I wanted to basically say very simple things. Congratulations to all the finalists. My message is that congratulations to those that win, but every action counts. That means all 171 finalists are there for a purpose, and they should really never give up and try to do it. Try to do our best, because we need any emission reduction, any biodiversity preservation or pollution reduction now. So it's not about the future, we need it now. I'm working in the European Commission. You have seen our commitments. We wanted Europe to be the first climate neutral continent to kind of lead by example. You have seen our Green Deal, and we are spitting out legislations like every month. So I will not bore you and will not go through all of that. I personally work in the nexus of digital and green. For a long time, there were two separate agendas. So the green and digital agendas were on a parallel universe. They had very little to do together. So for a few years now, we're trying to really tease out what it means green digital transformation. What does it mean to green the ICT, because it has a footprint, and what does it mean to use digital in greening the other sectors? We are on the way. Anybody that wants to know more or is actually in this space of green digital is welcome to maybe even contact us. What we do, the programs we fund for SMEs. I just talked to EIF, so we have a special program to support SMEs in green digital transformations on both sides, whatever you can do to green the digital sector, but also whatever you can do to help energy, agriculture, manufacturing, buildings, transport, any other sector using digital to reduce their footprint or help them in their sustainability goals. So on the special, especially on the enablement. So 2 words about the green and digital as we entertaining here. The ICT per se, you see a lot of articles in the media how bad it can be with respect to streaming, video streaming, the data center footprint, the telecom footprint, the device, the e-waste, but all of that together is about 3% of total emissions. There is a lot of emphasis on the energy consumption. I would not worry personally so much about that. I would like you to look at what are we actually doing with the materials, with our mobile phones, with our iPads and tablets and laptops, how bad we are with respect to e-waste. I mean, the e-waste today is heavier than the China wall, so we are really bad. This is the fastest growing waste category, and we need solutions. We need people's awareness. We need smart solutions to move from kind of a quantity-driven profit making in the companies where they just more material they sell, more profit they make, to product as a service. So kind of a shared economy and service economy. But all that 3%, we hope that it will not grow and we're driving it to zero with respect to ICT. The much bigger potential, 10 times more we can do by using smartly ICT in smart cities, in precision farming, in transport, in renewables, and trying to get renewables to be bigger part of our networks. That is a huge opportunity where there is a lot of potential for startups, for innovation actions, for smart ideas. Half of the solutions that we need to get out of this trouble have not been invented yet. So you are just on the way and more will come. And this will be the market. So financial institutions pledging to fund only sustainable solutions. So EIB, I talked to World Bank, a lot of promotional banks, they are all having already a target saying we will fund only, or 50% of our fund have to go to sustainable finance. So I work with my colleagues on EU taxonomy. What does it mean to be sustainable? There is still a lot of work to do to actually show that whatever you do has impact, net environmental or climate impact positive. So that is not obvious. And for that, you will need to actually join different fora to make sure that you can prove it, that whatever you're doing has a net positive effect. But for that, we have a coalition. So if you really want to, if you are in the space of digital, there is something that we have established as European Commission called European Green Digital Coalition. So at the moment, we have like 30 plus major ICT companies, and we will also invite SMEs to join, to agree on a framework that would develop and measure consistently what is the impact of digital solutions on environment and climate, and use it for financial institutions as metrics, as KPIs, so they can boost their innovation finance to that. There is the potential that is, as I said, 10 times bigger than the footprint of ICT, but that potential is not realized. I hope that you today, and with your solutions, and some of you that are in the space of green digital, can actually help us to realize this potential, because we're still far away from realizing it. So back to my first, every action counts. With or without the award, you should continue your quest for making this world kind of a greener place and healthier place, because all the SDGs are interlinked. Whatever you can do on SDG 12 has impact everywhere, from poverty to health to environmental SDGs and others. So there are interlinkages that we cannot say that just working only on, what is it working on environment that doesn't have something to do with health? So environmental and health are strongly interlinked. The materials are really underlying our economy and our business models. And if we don't get this right, we will not get the environmental. And if we don't get the environmental, we will not get the health and other issues and poverty issues out. So all the best. And as I said, good luck in your awards today, but don't get discouraged if you don't get it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lakvedas. We know that you're doing an amazing work to support organizations to integrate sustainable development through digital transformation. So appreciate your speaking today. Thank you so much for your words. At this point, I'd like to invite our next speaker, Professor Dr. Schmidt-Peter. welcome. And feel free to address the audience. Dr. Schmidt-Peter.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be together with you. Thank you for inviting me. I also have a presentation, so if I can share it, please give me the permission for it. Yeah, it's great to see so many companies who are actually involved in the sustainable business transformation, as I like to call it. And I just want to use 10 minutes to give you a little bit of my idea. Just a second. My idea about the sustainable business transformation, if I can share it somehow. Yes. Can you see it? No. Okay, if not, I just keep talking like without presentation, no problem. So we heard a lot about, why the sustainable business transformation is necessary, why we are all engaged in making our planet greener and how we can do it. As you probably know, Mrs. von der Leyen just pronounced the Green Deal, and there's of course a lot of money involved. Yeah, a lot of billions of European Commission will go in order to transform our future and will make our business community also more sustainable. And I think this is already a big issue for all of us, so that we really need to address sustainability in the future. But then the question is how we are going to do it. How can we really make our business greener? How can we integrate sustainability? And I see it more as a add-in than an add-on. Yeah, in previous times, we were always discussing about having a sustainability department, to have officers who are actually responsible for sustainability. But the other business just continued as it has done in the past. Yeah, and I think this is changing right now. We are on a crossroad. So sustainability really becomes an add-in, which means it's really getting an issue for all different departments throughout the whole organization. So it starts with the C-level, of course. The C-level, the board of directors, has to give admission to really change the business, transform it to a sustainable business model, to integrate sustainability into the corporate strategy. But then it needs to be scaled and rolled out among the whole company. And I think all the examples we are seeing today are actually part of this huge transformation of our business world. And the question I was asked quite often is, how does it all start? How can we begin with this kind of transformation? And I really believe the transformation always starts in our minds. So the first really necessary thing to have in mind is that you need to change the perspective on reality. And I think this is really the great aha effect, as I call it. Because in the past, a lot of managers, especially also educated by business schools and also universities, had this kind of trade-off thinking. How can I internalize profit and how can I externalize costs? How can I really be an efficient company by increasing profitability? And we often saw profitability and sustainability, as I said, as a kind of a trade-off, as something which doesn't really go together. So whenever you talked about sustainability, people were saying, oh, it's too costly, it's really distracting us from making business. But this has really changed. Why did it change? About 5 years ago, we conducted a couple of studies in major business schools and universities, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, and we just found out that the alpha, the so-called alpha, the risk-adjusted return of sustainable business models is about 5 to 6% higher than non-sustainable companies. And that, of course, became very interesting for investors. So even investors who maybe not want to save the world, but really make a good investment, got curious about how can they reduce risk and also how they can higher the return on investment. And they found out that through sustainability, you actually can do this. And this is why now major investors are more and more looking towards companies who are willing to go through this transformation. Because that's where you as an investor today and in the future can make the most risk-adjusted return. And I think this is a strong argument now, besides Friday for Future, politics and others, that the investors are really buying into sustainability and see the major markets of the future, and we are talking about billion, trillion dollars markets here and euro markets, in the field of sustainable mobilization, sustainable energy, sustainable finance. So we really now are about competing for the markets of the future. And of course, as said, this is a transformation. It's not only a change. A change is something within the rules, but the rules are changing. So it's becoming more and more a kind of a sustainable business transformation. And this sustainable business transformation, as I said, starts in your head. And as said, in your head, we have all the old management tools, instruments, business administration issues, and so on and so on. And I think this is actually what is sometimes hindering us, because the controlling systems are mainly non-financial KPIs, so non-financial KPIs are missing. We are mostly thinking about efficiency, and this, oh, now I have my presentation here, I guess. Can you just, don't know what's going on now, the presentation is up. Okay, can I steer it? Okay, this is an old trade-off thinking between sustainability and profitability we don't have yet. But okay, I'll just continue. And the new thinking really is to integrate positive impact thinking and profitability, which means to really find the purpose of your business model. And this is also promoted by a lot of CEOs. In 2019, a lot of business leaders in the United States promoted the idea that the purpose and the profit of a company is inextricably linked, which means you cannot have profit without a purpose, and you need to have a purpose also in order to make profit. And this leads to a completely new understanding of business. It really is not so much focusing on profitability anymore, but on purpose. And I can give you an example. So if I am asked, what is my purpose in life? And if I tell you my purpose in life is to breathe because I need air to live, then you would say, oh, that's a irritating purpose, yeah, to live, to breathe. And that's similar to a company. Of course, any business needs to breathe in order to actually survive. You need to make profit, but it's not the purpose of the company. And since the purpose and the profitability are linked inextricably together, we in the future will see much more purpose and impact-oriented business models. And I think this is also what now is getting to the universities. As I said, I'm a professor for business. We now see that the interests of business and interests of society are fitting together. We call it the sweet spot. And within the sweet spot, innovation derives. We see new processes, new markets, new products, new services, new business models. And this is all what sustainable business transformation is all about. It's not only about a nice idea to green our planet. No, it's really about changing our business models and markets for the future. And as said, many studies show that this is also a business case already. I analyzed a couple of studies, and all the studies show that in the future, we see much more business models which are actually going for sustainability. If I can have the next slide. Here you can see. So purpose really brings a higher profit if a company is purpose-oriented, managed. You also see trillions of money going into sustainability markets. The CEOs and CFOs already realize that sustainability really contributes to the positive also return of investments and of the business. So I think we don't need to prove sustainability anymore, but we now really need to talk about how can we integrate it. And for the integration, we have three different kind of leverages. The first leverage really is to, as I said in the beginning, to integrate it into any business unit. It's not only the goal of the sustainability department, it's really becoming key to any business unit, be it marketing, sales, production, or also sustainable supply chain management, and so on. So really, it is becoming kind of part of the strategy. And as I said, I don't really like the idea of having a sustainability strategy. I really like the idea of having a sustainable corporate business strategy. And this is, of course, changing from the top the whole nature of the company, and it's really bringing the idea of value protection, so do not harm, and value creation together. So basically, it's about avoiding negative impact to others, but more importantly, to create value for others, to make positive impact. And this is only possible by an integrative management approach. And I think this integrative management approach, maybe next slide, we can see is really integrated, as I said, in the different business units. So it's really changing the way how we see management and business administration. So we are really talking about a new management paradigm, and that's what's happening right now at the universities. We are trying to integrate all the different dimensions of sustainability into the different subjects of management, be it marketing, HR, leadership, and controlling. Maybe next slide. And this is basically a good slide to show you the difference between traditional management, which mainly focus on input and output, on efficiency, which means more sales, more production, less costs, less input. So it's basically very much input-output oriented, whereas sustainable management really starts with the impact. What kind of impact do I want to make as a company? What are the business models of the future I want to develop? And from there, we go through effectiveness and discuss which kind of systems change we need. And in the end, it's really about what is in your brain. Ideas matter. DC North once said, ideas matter. What did he mean with ideas matter? Ideas matter basically means the kind of mindset you have is changing the perspectives on reality. And that's why every change, every transformation does not start with models or with kind of new management tools or anything like this. It really starts in our mind. And once we understand that sustainability and profitability are not contradicting, but enforcing each other, we suddenly see not the challenges of sustainability anymore. We really do see all the business opportunities. And as I mentioned, sustainable management and all the SDGs are becoming right now the biggest business opportunity of our century. And I wish you all very much success with models you are bringing today. We vote for it, and any model you bring is a contribution to save the planet, but even more important, it's a great business opportunity, and I wish you all the best that you reap the fruits of your new mindset, and wish you all the best. Thank you for all your great ideas, and that you are part of the community who has a new mindset. I feel very honored also to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Schmidt-Peter, for encouraging words and for a great presentation. Appreciated. With this greeting, we are adjourning the opening. In the next 2 hours, we will have the opportunity to watch 170 companies pitch inside the rooms named after 17 SDGs. So please feel free to join the pitches in 17 different rooms to watch and vote. At the end of the pitch sessions, which will be at 3 o'clock this afternoon, European Central Time, with the help of the public voting, we will announce 17 winners. So enjoy, and I will see you back in this room at 3 o'clock afternoon Central European Time. Enjoy.
Thank you.